Hi everyone. In this video, I'd like to discuss with you what are requests for evidence and what you should do if you receive one. We know that's a pretty hot topic for individuals who are just starting out on their case, and also for individuals who are in the process. How do I avoid a request for evidence? And if I get one, what do I do? So before I dive into that topic, I'd like to quickly introduce myself and our firm for those of you who are new to our channel. My name is attorney Megan Pastrana from Corado, Pastrana, the immigration firm for couples, and we are dedicated exclusively to assisting couples in navigating the immigration process. And so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so now. We regularly post updates, so you have educational information and updates about what is going on in the world of immigration as it relates to couples. And we also have a Facebook group, Immigration for Couples. The link is listed below. Last but not least, if you like this video and the information that I'm discussing, please give this video a thumbs up so YouTube can share it with others who can benefit. Okay, so let's talk about requests for evidence. Requests for evidence, also known as an RFE, or just as they sound, a request from immigration for more evidence, for more documents, for more information. So USCIS will send a document if they need more information titled Request for Evidence. And so if you are starting out in your immigration journey, or if you're already in your immigration journey, you've probably heard of RFEs, or requests for evidence. And we know that that's a big question. How do I avoid them? What do I do if I receive one? So first off, a request for evidence is not a denial from immigration. It's, like I mentioned, they just are looking to obtain more documents and information from you so they can make a decision on your case. It's always best to do everything possible to avoid a request for evidence, but if you receive one, the first thing to do, don't panic. Take a deep breath. We know that it's stressful to receive a document like that from immigration, but just take a deep breath if you receive one. The first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to read through it. Sometimes there's a lot of information and you might be overwhelmed by receiving that request for evidence, so we highly recommend you read through it a few times to make sure you're understanding exactly what immigration needs. They sometimes will request one thing, or they might request multiple documents in the request for evidence. And so pay very close attention, read it very closely, and find out exactly what it is that they are asking for. Also be sure to pay attention to the deadline. Requests for evidence have a deadline. Immigration will say you have 30 days or 60 days. They'll give you a certain amount of time to respond, and they'll put in a date on that request for evidence when the documents need to be received by immigration. And so pay very close attention to that date. Make sure you calendar that date. And a good rule of thumb is to make sure you're responding as quickly as possible. And also that you don't mail it any later than a week before. That's usually the best rule of thumb, because it's important to understand that date is when immigration has to receive the response, not a postmark date. So just pay very close attention to that date. So once you've read through it, once you're clear on what they're needing, what immigration is requesting, and once you have that date calendared, the next thing you'll want to do is determine whether or not the request for evidence is a complex one or if it's a simple request. And so what I mean by that is immigration will sometimes send a simple RFE request, a simple request for evidence. And by that I mean they're needing one thing or something minor, like maybe passport photos. Maybe you didn't submit them, maybe you forgot, maybe you didn't submit enough. That's an example of a simple request for evidence. There can also be a complex request for evidence, and that's typically the one that causes a lot of anxiety and that people are worried about receiving. And a complex request for evidence is basically anytime immigration is asking you to prove something. And so as I mentioned, our firm is dedicated exclusively to assisting couples. And so an example of a complex request for evidence would be immigration asking you to prove your relationship, asking you for more bona fide relationship evidence, more evidence that your relationship is based on love and not to receive an immigration benefit. That would be a complex RFE, a complex request for evidence, because whenever immigration is asking you to prove something, that means immigration is using something called discretion. That means that they are weighing positive and negative factors in your case to arrive at a decision, that somebody is going to review all of that evidence and they are going to make a decision about whether or not they believe you have a real relationship. So that would be a complex request. And with a complex request, you would definitely want to make sure that you get legal advice or counsel from an immigration attorney to make sure you're responding properly, because if you submit documents to immigration or you respond to that and you don't make a strong argument, then you are at risk for immigration deciding to deny your case. So if you get a simple request for evidence, just something like passport photos, you could easily respond to that on your own. If you're not clear on what the request for evidence is asking, it's also good to have an attorney help you to decide what it is exactly that immigration needs. But if you do get a complex request, it is definitely our advice to have an immigration attorney help you to make sure that you have enough evidence to prove exactly what it is that immigration is looking for. Because we know the immigration process is long, it's stressful, and you don't want to lose all the progress you've made. So if immigration sends you a complex request, be sure that you are very clear on what they're asking, and if you need help, don't be afraid to ask. Because yes, again, like, you don't want to put your case at risk of being denied. And then another thing I want to mention about requests for evidence is that immigration is notorious for asking for things that you may have already provided in your application. One of the most common ones that we see is with fiancé visa applications. Immigration will ask for more proof that you have met in person within the 2 years prior to filing the application. And we see that a lot. We know that we've seen many individuals who've actually submitted evidence that they have met in person, but immigration asks for it again. And so if you get something like that, it might seem a little confusing. Yes, I already submitted evidence. Good rule of thumb, a good tip would be highlight the evidence that you've submitted, even submit that again, and then provide additional documentation to show immigration that you meet that requirement. All right, so I know that was a lot of information about requests for evidence, but I hope that that gave you clarity about what exactly they are and the steps that you should take to make sure that you are properly responding and dealing with that request for evidence. All right, so thanks for watching. Have a great day.